All right. Great fun. I should probably put on an earphone for this. That's what we want. Show Bluetooth devices. Alright, sorry, shipmates. I have to edit it like this, but I don't have to edit it out. But don't worry. Alright, very good. Okay, alright, good. I think we're all set here. Yeah. Give it to me later. I'm recording right now. So, alright. Alright, 5th Platoon, NS1, U.S. Navy, Navy ships. We talked about the mission of Navy ships. Now we're doing types of ships. So, let's start. I love Navy ships. I've been on 2. I've served on 2. I've been on many, but I've served on 2. First one was the USS Saratoga. Oops. It was the USS Saratoga, and I did that. I was on that ship in 1994. 1994. No yakking, please. All right. All right. Which is probably before some of you were born. But anyway. All right. We're going to identify the ships of the Navy and understand how they fulfill the Navy mission. We're going to list types of Navy ships today. All right. Does being on a submarine appeal to you? Who here finds submarines appealing?
Like cool?
Like kind of cool? Think you might want to serve on one day?
I've been on like a tour.
Yeah. Some of you may have gone on a World War II submarine, like if you went to the if you went saw the USS Alabama, which was a battleship. The submarine behind it's the USS Drum. Or when I say USS, none of them are USS anymore because they're decommissioned. But if anybody here been to Patriots Point? Patriots Point? All right, yeah, I know you have that. All right, so down there, in addition to a retired aircraft carrier, right now for a short time longer, they have a retired submarine too. And so anyway, submarines back then were very small, but submarines today are much more spacious. Okay, if you had to choose one, which of the following naval vessels would you prefer to work on? So now it's the time to answer with your thumbs or your forefingers. Cruisers. We also have destroyers too. Destroyers are small boys as well. We call them small boys. Even though they're freaking huge. Aircraft carriers, a floating city. And then submarines are not cities. They're close-knit communities of brave warfighters.
It'll give me.
It's gonna give me anxiety.
Oh, I can't.
Well, you know what? For some people, it is, but it's like, the neat thing about subs is that you got everything you need. I mean, everything you need is on there. I mean, you got the sub. Obviously, you have to load food on it before you go to sea, but it makes oxygen. They make oxygen on board. They make water on board, so you always got water to drink.
My trust issue's bad. I can trust it.
And then, and it's work. So, all right, everybody answer it?
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I've got 19 responses out of 22. Yes?
You keep saying me channel.
There's an arrow button on the back, on the screen, probably on the bottom left. The button underneath it, press that button. That's any of you. If you find the thing doesn't respond, so do that, and then you should be able to answer. Did you get it? Karen, we help her out, please. All right, I'm going to move on because we're running out of time. So, all right, what type of ship do you think this is? It's an aircraft carrier, a destroyer, a submarine, or a frigate? You guys have no idea, but that's okay. I'm gonna help you out. This is a destroyer.
Oh, I got it right.
Good.
It's destroyer.
All right. All Navy ships are either combatant or auxiliary ships. The combatant ships vary greatly in type and function. All right, so under combatants, we have warships and we have other combatants, which we'll discuss. All right, so warships. Aircraft carriers, cruisers, destroyers, frigates, littoral combat ships, and submarines. I will tell you the frigates are going away, if they haven't already gone away, the Oliver Hazard Perry class. So, all right, let's talk about aircraft carriers. CVNs are multi-purpose carriers with nuclear propulsion. There are no more CVs. I was on the USS Saratoga, which was CV-60. CV-60 because it was a conventional diesel-powered aircraft carrier. Okay, that's what it got its propulsion from. All aircraft carriers now are all Nimitz class or Gerald Ford classes. And the Nimitz classes start at CVN-68. That's the whole number for it, if you recall from our previous lecture. CV, B stands for aircraft, C stands for carrier, and N stands for nuclear. Okay? The aircraft carrier is at the center of a carrier battle group. It's intended to carry, launch, retrieve, and handle combat aircraft quickly and effectively. All right, let's look at the video on the aircraft carrier. As soon as we get some volume, we'll pause it. Funky synthesizer music.
The aircraft carriers, these huge floating airports, carry all kinds of jet aircraft and helicopters. It takes 5,000 sailors to keep this big ship doing its job, launching and landing aircraft from the flight deck.
Well, when landing on an aircraft carrier, if you can picture putting a little postage stamp in the middle of a room, turning out all the lights, taking a running leap and trying to catch it with your tongue, that's about what it's like. It's not that difficult. We get a lot of training and practice in doing it, but essentially each airplane that's on the aircraft carrier has a big hook that drops down off the back end. And there's 4 wires that are stretched across the deck. So we'll come and slide the airplane and show that when we hit the wheels onto the aircraft carrier, the hook is touching a wire, and that actually slows our airplane down from about 150 miles an hour down to 0.
That wire, by the way, is about that big around. It is a steel, it's woven steel is all that is. So, all right, Harry S. Truman, CVN-75, this is a Nimitz class carrier. It's 1,090 plus feet. It displaces 97,000 tons. 97,000 tons. Multiply 97,000 times 2,000, and that will tell you how many pounds this ship weighs. It's approximately 6,000 crew with the air wing aboard. The air wing is separate, so there's several different squadrons and stuff that will embark on the aircraft carrier. Okay? We can operate 85 to 90 aircraft almost indefinitely. Obviously, they got to have jet fuel, so we have auxiliary ships that will come and provide jet fuel. CVNs have an angled flight deck to launch and recover planes simultaneously. Hydraulic elevators rapidly bring planes from the hangar deck to the flight deck. So our hangar deck is underneath the flight deck. In addition to their aircraft, CVNs carry various types of defensive weapons, such as the 20mm Phalanx CIWS, or close-in weapon system. And this is a Gatling gun that I cannot remember what its shot rate is. It's like over 1,000 rounds a minute. But when the thing shoots, it sounds like it's buzzing, like really loud. That's what it sounds like, but it's only loud because it's a Gatling gun. It's several barrels that spin, and every time they do one revolution, they shoot. The modern aircraft carrier can carry out sustained operations due to its logistical capabilities of power plant and engines, parts and munitions compartments. So we have repair shops on board the aircraft carrier. If a squadron has a part that's broken that they can't fix, they can take it over to the rotable pool, which is a parts. It's like a parts store over in the aircraft intermediate maintenance department, and they'll take that part over there. They'll say, "I need a new part." They'll give them a new part. They'll take the old part, and then AIMD will fix it. So, Fast fueling equipment, massive size, speed of 30 plus knots, and seat keeping ability. Now they will not publish how fast these things will actually go. But the interesting thing is that if you are mathematically inclined, if you can find out what the water line length is, the length at the water line, then there's actually a computation that you can figure out to determine what the stop speed is. So. All right, in times of crisis, one of the first questions is, where are the carriers? And it's because these things this is our foreign policy deployed forward, okay? We support and operate aircraft that can carry out attacks on air, surface, subsurface, and shore targets that threaten free use of the sea. They can also engage in sustained operations in support of other forces, such as search and rescue, amphibious assaults, or troops already ashore. All right, cruisers. Cruisers, a small boy. Anything underneath this, with the exception of submarines, if we're on an aircraft carrier, we call these small boys. Okay? So the cruiser is a Ticonderoga class cruiser. They're the modern Navy's primary and largest surface warfare ships. It used to be battleships, but we don't have battleships anymore. They cruise at over 30 knots and act as escorts for surface forces and fire support for amphibious operations. So those guns that they have on there, they can bombard the beach that the Marines are going to land on and all that too. Cruisers are designed to carry the Tomahawk cruise missile, in addition to 2 5-inch gun mounts and dual Sea Whizzes to provide a heavy and sustained course of fire in the event of attack. So not only are they massive offensive weapons, but they also have defenses as well. But their primary job is to protect the aircraft carrier. These things are designed. They're designed to take a hit. So what will happen is they'll be far enough away from the aircraft carrier, and their job is to take out a surface to ship missile, sometimes sacrificing themselves if they need to. All right, the Normandy, which is a cruiser, its length is 567 feet, 10,000 tons. So 10,000 times 2,000 is 20 million. Is that 20 million pounds? I think it is. 2 times 10. 20 million pounds. All right. 30 plus knots and 364 officers enlisted. All right. They use the Aegis system, it's a system of radars to protect, and it's used to protect an aircraft carrier. All right. This is pretty cool. Lots of firepower. Let's see what it is. All right, cruisers are multi-mission surface combatants capable of anti-air warfare, anti-sub warfare, anti-surface warfare. Expeditionary strike groups usually encompass Marines or SEALs. Amphibious forces, again, Marines, reconnaissance, and flagships for surface action groups. So we say a flagship is where what we call the seat of the Commodore. That's the ship that the Commodore is on. So please stay awake. All right, here goes. It's time to answer questions. A modern aircraft carrier such as the USS Harry S. Truman can operate how many aircraft almost indefinitely? I said it, it showed it. What is the answer? Okay, and there you go. Good job. 85 to 90. All right, 30 knots would translate to approximately how many miles per hour? Let's figure that out real quick. Let's figure that up. Of course, folks viewing at home can't see this, but that's okay. All right, so hey, what's a statute? What is a knot in statute miles per hour? As in like land miles per hour. We went over this last week. What is it? Huh? What am I going to multiply? What am I going to multiply knots by? Breaking my heart, y'all. 1.5. All right, is 1.5 So 30. All right, so 0, 15, and 30 is 400, and says 45 miles per hour. About 45 miles per hour. I think that's not right. That's not right. All right, let's do it again. All right, so 30 knots times 1.5, 0, 15 is 0 and 3 and 0, 5, 4 and point. Yeah, I guess it is 45 miles an hour. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Oh, I know what it is. I know why I screwed up. It's not 1.5. What is it? 2. Let's do it this way. 1.15. All right, 0, 0, 0, and then 15, 3, 4, and 3. 0, 5, 4, 3. All right, now we're cooking with peanut oil. That is 34.5 miles per hour. Y'all understand what I'm saying now? You get it? All right, so if you were driving in your car and you were doing 30 miles, if you were doing 34.5 miles per hour, then you would be doing 30 knots. All right? All right. Destroyers. We have two classes of destroyers right now. We have the Zumwalt class and we have the Arleigh Burke class. The Arleigh Burke class, the Zumwalt class is the newest one. The Arleigh Burke class, I'm going to date myself, but I remember when the USS Arleigh Burke was commissioned. So it was a long time ago. All right, destroyers are known as the Greyhounds of the Sea for their speed. Anybody ever see the movie Greyhound on Apple TV Plus? You haven't?
I don't even have that.
Anybody have Apple TV Plus?
No.
Few of you got it? Watch Greyhound. That's your homework assignment. And then I'm going to ask you about it. So I'll let you watch it over the weekend. But next week I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you about it. So and you
Is it
tell me.
on Netflix?
It's not on Netflix. It's on
Oh, then
Apple. It's on
I don't
Apple
have
TV
that.
Plus.
I don't have that.
That's why I was asking if somebody had Apple TV Plus.
I have Disney
Which you can get
Plus.
Apple TV Plus on a Roku as well. So,
Mm-mm.
all right. But anyway, the name of the movie is called Greyhound. It's got Tom Hanks in it, and he is a World War II destroyer captain. Okay. Destroyers and guided missile destroyers are multi-purpose, fast, with a variety of armament, but lightly armored with displacement of 8,300 to 9,000 tons. So it's not as heavy. Both types of destroyers support carrier battle groups, surface action groups, amphibious support groups, replenishment groups. I know some of these words are baffling to you, but you'll learn them as we go. Okay. DDGs are multi-purpose, fast with a variety. Okay, we already did that. The real advantages are speed and mobility. So they're lighter. They can travel faster and they can get into action quicker. Okay. They are undersea, air-to-air, and air-surface warfare capable, the largest group of workhorses for the Navy. So the destroyers and cruisers have very similar jobs. The difference is that the destroyer can actually go faster. Okay. All right, and then these are Arleigh Burke class. All right, most powerful surface combatant ever put to sea. It's first commissioned in 1991. It's the Arleigh Burke class. It has 4 33,600 horsepower gas turbine engines. It's a lot of power. All right, and it turns 2 screws. Displacement's 9,033 tons. It has an Aegis combat system, real similar to the cruiser, and it carries 56 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Do you know what? Each Tomahawk cruise missile can carry 1,000-pound. Carry a 1,000-pound explosive. That's a lot of firepower. This is a Zumwalt class destroyer.
No, that don't.
Isn't it
It's
funky
upside
looking?
down. It looks like it's upside down.
It does look like it's upside down. But you know what? The design of this ship makes it almost invisible to radar. It looks on an enemy radar. This is about the size of a fishing vessel. Isn't that crazy? All because it's shaped like this. Okay? All right. Frigates, we'll talk briefly about them. Okay, they're the Navy's term for ships used for open ocean escort and patrol. They're similar to destroyers, but with these differences. They only have one screw. Okay, they're slower. They don't have a whole lot of horsepower. They don't have as much armament, but they can go in shallower depths. And these ships are being phased out and replaced by the littoral combat ship, which we'll show you here later. Okay, they protect shipping interests for amphibious forces, supply groups, and merchant convoys. They're also used in anti-submarine warfare and coastal defense. The primary job of these is they can do drug interdiction. They can do a lot of that, like a Coast Guard cutter can. But the other thing is anti-sub warfare. These things are more specialized for that. Okay. All right, so Oliver Hazard Perry class FFGs and then guided missile FFGs. They all have guns. They all have anti-warfare, anti-air warfare capability. They have anti-submarine warfare capability. Littoral combat ships. All right, so this is the 3-hull variety. This is the Independence class. And then there's the Freedom class, which is a monohull. It has one hull. Okay? And when I say hull, so this right here is a hull, and this is a hull, and on the other side is a hull. But if you look on the Freedom class, it only has one hull. Okay? Littoral zone is means that it's close to the shore. Okay? All right, Arleigh Burke class destroyers are the most powerful surface combatant never put to sea. True or false? True or false? All right, I don't have time to wait on it. Here we go. The answer is true. Okay. Frigates are similar to destroyers, except they are all answers that apply. And press the enter button. All right, that's it. We're going to take some answers B, C, and D. There you go. Remember, the frigates are not faster. They don't have this. They don't have as much horsepower of an engine, and they only have one screw. Submarines. All right, Navy submarine force is entirely nuclear. It's far superior to the old diesel boats because the old diesel and electric boats. This is because these can be underwater indefinitely. Right? It makes its own oxygen. It makes its own water. The only thing that keeps a submarine coming back to shore, what do you think it is? Food for people. That's it. And by the way, on submarines, they are some of the best fed sailors in the world. They are. Submarine chefs know how to cook. All right. First SSN, which stands for nuclear submarine, SSN. All right. Traveled 62,000 miles without refueling because it was a nuclear boat. All right. And then the USS Triton went 83 days submerged while traveling around the globe. It went completely around the world. The submarines, of course, we talked about air revitalization and oxygen generation. I'm going to skip the video on submarines. There's 3 different types of subs right now. We have the SSN, which is the fast attack boat. All right, their job is to hunt down submarines and kill them. Anybody see the movie Hunter Killer? Should you stay awake, please? Sit up, please. All right, anybody see Hunter Killer? I can't remember the pop star that's in it. Plays an admiral in that movie. I don't remember his name. But anyway, if I find out, I'll tell you. All right. So SSNs are hunter killer subs. They hunt down other subs, and then they also hunt down SSBNs, our enemy SSBNs. Okay. This is a ballistic missile submarine, but it carries the Trident missiles I was telling you about that can destroy a whole continent. Mm-hmm. The SSGN, remember me telling you about Tomahawk missiles? The SSGN is a converted SSBN, and it can carry in each one of these tubes, all right, in each one of these tubes, an SSGN can carry 7 Tomahawk missiles. Do the math, it's over 144 missiles. So, all under the water, and imagine the fury unleashed. If they shot off 144 Tomahawk missiles, 1,000 pound warhead per. All right. The mission is to locate and destroy enemy ships and subs, provide intelligence collection to special forces, because they'll stick an antenna up and they can listen to the transmissions that's going on from our enemies. Can supply delivery to rescue and recon. What that means is they can spy, and then they can also rescue people who've been downed or downed either at land or downed at sea. And they can act as a primary defense against enemy submarine attack. The best anti-submarine weapon is another submarine. So the driving force in U.S. submarine development was and still is the concept of technical superiority over numerical superiority. In World War II, it was numerical superiority. We were putting out submarines like it was cool. All right? But now we have advanced technology, which allows us, gives us an upper hand. We don't need as many submarines. We just need better submarines. Okay? All right, best way to find a sub is with another sub. In '89, construction began on the Seawolf class. I'm not going to talk about this because the ship's obsolete. It is. It's not, I say it's obsolete, it's still useful. We still use them. But there were only 3 in the class. There were 2 of them were fast boats, fast attack boats, and then one of them's a spy boat. And that is the USS Jimmy Carter. Who was Jimmy Carter? He was a president. Why would they name a submarine after Jimmy Carter? Huh?
Didn't he like make the plans for it or something?
No. You ready for this? He was the first U.S. president who was a submariner.
Ah,
There you go. All right. I'm not going to talk about the Seawolf class. I'm not going to talk about it. It's a neat boat. I'm not dissing it. It's a great boat. But it was just too expensive for its time. It was designed for the Cold War, and they only got 3 boats built by the time the Cold War ended. So, FBMs, fleet ballistic missile subs, nuclear powered and armed with long-range strategic missiles. Remember, strategic means that if we use these missiles in our strategy to prevent war. All right. So remember that if you want peace, you prepare for war. Well, having these keeps Iran from shooting nuclear missiles. It keeps Russia from shooting nuclear missiles. It keeps China from shooting nuclear missiles. So strategic deterrence, that's what that is. If we're keeping them from doing something by the presence of our weapons. All right, these are the most destructive weapons ever made. Like I said, one of these submarines can destroy a whole continent. All right, the Ohio-class submarine, they're working on replacing it now. It's still a good boat. It's a big boat, really, really big boat. Okay. All right, moving on. All right, they're developing a new, and like I said, they're developing a new FBM submarine. Okay, Virginia-class submarines are the current. That's the newest fast attack boat that we have. You notice I call submarines boats, and it's because, and not ships. And the reason is because a boat can actually be put on another ship. Okay, submarines can be put on another ship. I mean, granted, it's a floating dry dock now, but that's the point. But if you talk about a submarine in front of a submariner and you call it a ship, he or now she will correct you and say, no, it's a boat. Navy submarine force is entirely nuclear. True or false? Easy answer. Easy answer. Give it. I don't think we're far off. Giddy up. Y'all ready for this? What is the answer, please? It's true. That's right. We don't have any more diesel boats anymore. The last diesel boat was a deep submergence boat, and it caught fire too many times, and so they decommissioned it. It was called the USS Dolphin. All right, which of the following is true of FBM submarines? We'll put all the correct answers. We'll push it in. Input all the correct answers. Input all the correct answers. All right, let's see how many people are right. All right. It should be 18, 18, and 18. All right. It should be. Because all
I put it all.
of the answers are correct. All right, 2 to 3 things you learned in this lesson that you did not already know. And I know
Everything.
that you guys have answers to this.
Everything.
Say it, Destiny. What?
Jim Carter served as a murderer.
Jimmy Carter. Okay, yeah. Jimmy Carter was the first president who had served on submarines. Period. Yeah. That what?
Submarines are nuclear powered.
Submarines are nuclear powered. All submarines are nuclear. All U.S. Navy submarines are nuclear powered. Anybody have anything else? Yes, Roger.
There's a cruiser called the Small Boy.
Okay, for the smaller ships, such as the cruisers, destroyers, frigates, littoral combat ships, those are all called small boys. So that's not testable information, by the way, but that's what we called them when we were on aircraft carrier. And you want to know something? We all wish that we could have been on a small boy. You know why? Because the small boy can pull up to the pier. And they can pull up to the pier. And so when you go on Liberty, it also means that you got more Liberty ports that you can go and do too. So our ship can only pull into certain, I was on an aircraft carrier, so there were only certain ports that we could pull into. So when I was deployed, I guess the only ones that we could pull into, we pulled into Trieste, Italy. We pulled into Palma, Spain, all right, Naples, Italy, and then Valencia, Spain. And Valencia was the only one we could pull pier side. Yes?
I don't know if this is small boy or not, but I played Call of Duty World War II. Like on the when the very first started, it's just like Call of Duty. Like there's like troops like coming in like boats.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called.
Okay. You have to show it to me, and I might be able to ascertain exactly what it is. Y'all have any other questions about ships or anything? So glad you learned something. Ships are near and dear to my heart. I love the sea. I love being at sea. I
I don't
am
like this.
there. If you talk to sailors, listen. If you talk to sailors, let me tell you something. We still got a couple minutes. I can tell you a little bit about. One of the things I absolutely love about being at sea is the darkness. Is the great expanse and the darkness.
I don't like it.
Because here's the thing, and it doesn't happen very often, but they'll turn off the flight deck lights.
Ooh.
And anyway, I would walk out on the flight deck and look up at the stars. There are billions and billions and billions of stars because there's not any light pollution. There's no cities shining light up into the atmosphere. So what you get is in the night sky is all sky. There's no earth light coming from the earth to cloud up the stars. And so when you see the Milky Way, you see the Milky Way. I mean, it's this blob of stars going over you, over you from one horizon to the other. It's remarkable. Other thing is too, it's just something about being at sea. I love it at night. I love being at sea at night. It's just peaceful, and you can see some of the other ships, off on the horizon that are escort ships and stuff. But it's beautiful, and you feel so small, but it's a beautiful small. It's like because you just feel its majesty, the majesty of the universe, because it's huge and it's big, and I think when God made us, He made us to really appreciate big things because He's big. So, any questions? All right, that's it. Y'all can go ahead and put up the fingers.